fossil, you had to continue or risk losing it. Visitors imagined the landscape of the Badlands to be unchanging, but in fact, it was continuously eroding, literally right before your eyes. All day long, you could hear the clatter of pebbles rolling down the crumbling hillside. And there was always a risk of a rainstorm. Even a brief shower would wash away.
Anyway, is the park ready for visitors? Gennaro asked. Well, not officially, Hammond said. But the hotel is built, so there is a place to stay. And the animals? Of course, the animals are all there, all in their spaces. Gennaro said, I remember in the original proposal you were hoping for a total of 12. Oh, we're far beyond that. We have 238 animals, Donald. 238? The old man giggled, pleased at Gennaro's reaction. You can't imagine it. We have herds of them. 238. How many species? 15 different species, Donald. That's incredible, Gennaro said. That's fantastic. And what about all the other? Hayden said, can you explain this in English? Surely, Malcolm said. Let's see where we have to start. Do you know what a nonlinear equation is? No. Strange attractors? No. All right, Malcolm said. Let's go back to the beginning. He paused, staring at the ceiling. Physics has had great success at describing certain kinds of behavior. Planets in orbit, spacecraft going to the moon, pendulums and springs, and rolling balls, that sort of thing. The regular movement of objects. These are described by what are called linear equations, and mathematicians can solve those equations easily. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. Okay, Gennaro said. But there is another kind of behavior which physics handles badly. For example, anything to do with turbulence. Y effect. A butterfly flaps its wings in Peking, and weather in New York is different. So, chaos is all just random and unpredictable, Gennaro said. Is that it? No, Malcolm said. We actually find hidden regularities within the complex variety of a system's behavior. That's why chaos has now become a very broad theory that's used to study everything from the stock market to rioting crowds to brain waves during epilepsy. Any sort of complex system where there is confusion and unpredictability. We can find an underlying order. Okay? Okay, Gennaro said, but what is this underlying order? It's essentially characterized by the movement of the system within phase space, Malcolm said. Jesus, Gennaro said, all I want to know is why you think Hammond's Island can't work. I understand, Malcolm said. I'll get there. Chaos theory says two things. First, that complex systems like weather have an underlying order. Second, the reverse of that simple systems can produce complex behavior. With the force imparted to the ball and the mass of the ball, and you can calculate the angles at which it will strike the walls, you can predict the future behavior of the ball. In theory, you could predict the behavior of the ball far into the future as it keeps bouncing from side to side. You could predict where it will end up 3 hours from now, in theory. Okay, Gennaro nodded. But in fact, Malcolm said, it turns out you can't predict more than a few seconds into the future. Because almost immediately, very small effects, imperfections in the surface of the ball, tiny indentations in the wood of the table, start to make a difference. And it doesn't take long before they overpower your careful calculations. So it turns out that this simple system of a pool ball on a table has unpredictable behavior. Okay. And Hammond's project, Malcolm said, is another apparently simple system. Animals within a zoo environment. that will eventually show unpredictable behavior. You know this because of theory, Malcolm said. But had an overwrought sales pitch, the power suddenly became clear to him. These animals were so big. They were enormous, big as a house. And so many of them. Actual damn dinosaurs. Just as real as you could want. Gennaro thought, we are going to make a fortune on this place. A fortune! He hoped to God the island was safe. Grant stood on the path on the side of the hill with a mist on his face, staring at the gray necks craning above the palms. He felt dizzy, as if the ground was sloping away too steeply. He had trouble getting his breath, because he was looking at something he had never expected to see in his life. Yet he was seeing it. The animals in the mist were perfect apatosaurs, medium-sized sauropods.